1 Samuel chapter 8, verses 1 through 10. I'll be reading out the New Living Translation version. 1 Samuel chapter 8, verses 1 through 10. And it says this, that as Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons to be judges over Israel. Joel and Abijah, his oldest sons, held court in Beersheba. But they were not like their father, for they were greedy for money. They accepted bribes and perverted justice. Finally, all the elders of Israel met at Ramah to discuss the matter with Samuel. Look, they told him, you are now old, and your sons are not like you. Give us a king to judge over us, like all the other nations have. Verse number 6. Samuel was displeased with their request and went to the Lord for guidance. Do everything they say to you, the Lord replied, for they are rejecting me, not you. They don't want me to be their king any longer. Ever since I brought them from Egypt, they have continually abandoned me and followed other gods. And now they are giving you the same treatment. Do as they ask, but solemnly warn them about the way the king will reign over them. So Samuel, verse number 10, passed on the Lord's warning to the people who were asking him for a king. For this short time, man, I want to speak from this idea and this thought, choose Jesus. Choose Jesus. You can be seated. Today we honor and we celebrate immediately following our worship service as a family that we have people that have decided to make a public display of their choice for Jesus by getting baptized. And we celebrate that immediately after service. As we think about our lives, and our lives are filled with choices. As soon as we wake up in the morning, there's choices we have to make. What food we're going to eat, clothes we're going to wear. Lives are just riddled with choices and decisions that we have to make. For some of us who have a job, we may choose whether I feel like working today or if I got a sudden tickle in my throat that I might just need to call off. Choices are a part of our everyday life and decisions. When we talk about choices and when we think about choices, though, the underlying idea behind the choice is that there's options and there's alternatives. You have choices because you have an alternative. I could eat this or I could eat that. Growing up, I'm not sure if any of you experienced this, but growing up, the only time I didn't have a choice was when I was younger. I didn't have a choice of what I was going to eat. What my mom laid on the table, that's what it was. I didn't have a choice of what clothes I was going to wear. It didn't match. It didn't meet the theme that I had to for the school year, but that's what I had to wear. I had no choice. It's funny now with our kids that we wake up in the morning, babe, what do you want to eat? You want to eat cereal? You want to eat some eggs? You want to eat bacon? What you want to eat, babe? And they'll come out and say, babe, I want steak. Steak? What? That wasn't a choice. They just got choices now. But once again, the idea of the choice is that it denotes that there is an alternative option to choose from. Two things that I want you to take note of is that if you're going to make a choice, and in the face of making choices, it acts as a mirror to our hearts. That choices that we make, not every choice, but choices that we make can oftentimes act as a mirror to our heart. The choices we make regarding our relationships, the choices we make in our relationships, the choices we make with our finances, the choices we make concerning our businesses and our own life, that it can act as a mirror to our heart. The second thing I think is important for you to note is that you will oftentimes experience the consequences of your choices. That you would oftentimes experience the consequences of your choices. Now, consequences, that term oftentimes comes with a negative connotation, but consequences is not a negative word. It means just results. So you can have good consequences or you can have bad consequences. But the choices that you make will oftentimes come with consequences. I want to give this disclosure, is that typically when I'm preaching as if I am that you guys are my therapists, and I'm in therapy. My wife oftentimes probably don't like this because I disclose too much information to y'all, right? So I'm going to use this moment right now that you guys are my therapists, and I'm going to be open and transparent with you guys. And if you don't agree, if this message don't agree with you, it's okay. Just sit there and listen like good therapists. All right. So I feel like in this moment in my life that there are some promises that God has made to me and to my family that I have yet to experience. And it's not that it was a delay, or it's not that God is saying it's not the time yet. It's because there were choices that I made that I'm living in the consequences of not experiencing and living in those blessings. That the reality for me, for my life, my therapist, once again, my therapist, I'm being honest with you, that I chose convenience. I chose safety. I chose some familiar things, and I chose the comfort of staying on the shore when God was calling me to go out into deeper spaces. That it's because of the choices that I made that I'm not living in some of the promises that I believe that God was saying it was time for you to walk in. And the question that God asked me when I was preparing this message is that, Kevin, how much longer before I make him my first choice? The question is, Kevin, how much longer before I decide to make you, God, my first choice? How much longer before I decide to make him the first name that I call from the starting lineup? That he's the first choice that I call when I am in need. That he is the first person I go to. That he's my go-to instead of my plan B. How much longer? That when I'm talking to you today about choosing Jesus, I'm not talking about just strictly salvation. That for some of us, we've chosen Jesus already. We made him the Lord and Savior of our lives. For some of us, we are walking with Jesus. But there's areas in our lives that yet we have not yet chosen Jesus for that. And when I'm talking about choosing Jesus, I'm talking about being submitted to his lordship, being submitted to him as ruler and master over our lives. Pierre taught us the names of God Wednesday, and one of the things he taught us to look for is when we see the capital L, am I right, P? The capital O, capital R, capital D, that denotes lordship and mastery. That when we do an examination of our lives, that how many areas or what areas in our lives that we have not made him Lord over. He said, those are the areas that I want you to choose me in those areas. That God, he asked me, he said, how much grace do I need to show you for you to make me your number one choice? That how much mercy do I need to show you, Kevin? How much goodness do I have to present to you for you to choose me as your number one option? It was in those moments that I would oftentimes choose the things I was comfortable with. God, that's why I didn't step out on the shore. That's why I sought convenience and comfort, because I wasn't choosing you and your way. I was choosing the thing that held close to me, the fear and the complacency and the convenience of what I knew to be safe. He said, Kevin, how much do I need to provide for you? How many open doors do I have to swing open for you? How many times do I have to show you that I am the God who provides, that I'm the God who loves you, that I see you in your most vulnerable state, your most weakest states? How many times do I have to show you, prove to you, and reveal myself to you, Kevin, that I love you and I won't leave you? But yet and still, I'm not your first choice. Instead, Kevin, I have given my heart to people and things that don't deserve it. That what God was asking of me today is that he was asking me, Kevin, I don't just want to be your number one choice. I deserve to be your number one choice. That I deserve to be the one that you call on. I deserve to be the one that you depend on and lean on. I deserve that number one spot in your life. I don't deserve to be the side thing. I deserve to be the main piece. And instead, I've given my attention and I've given my heart and I've given certain aspects of my life to other things that don't deserve that spot, to other areas and other people. I know that I grind hard. I know that you all grind hard. I know that you all hustle. I know that you're going to make it by any means possible. I know you have accolades and prestige behind your name. But he says none of that deserves the number one spot in your life. So, Kevin, I know that you've worked hard and that you've reached and amassed a certain status financially. But that doesn't deserve the number one spot. That when it comes to choosing Jesus, he says we have options. In every day of our lives, in every moment in our lives, there's options that we can choose. Jesus or the alternative. And how long, Kevin, and how long, therapists, are we going to choose the alternatives rather than choosing Jesus? That's what this text is about. And that's what this text brings us to. When we look at Samuel chapter 8, the elders approach Samuel, experiencing the shadiness and the fraudulent acts of Abijah and Joel, their son. And they said, Samuel, listen, man, you're out of here. You got a foot in the grave, so you ain't gonna be here long. But your sons, they're taking over and they're taking leadership in Beersheba, and they're not like you. They're fraudulent. They over here making bribes. They desire money. Who has the biggest bid? You want that house? Okay, it's going to cost you this. Choo-choo. Calling the people, yo, come take care of that for me. They're making briberies and they're taking claims to people who are willing to pay them for dishonest justice. They don't believe in fairness and equity and justice. And so they make this request: Samuel, you're not going to be here. So give us a king that can rule over us, because what we're going through, Samuel, we don't know how long we're going to have to endure it. On the surface, it appears that they had a valid reason. They were shady. They were running a criminal enterprise. But God reveals the heart of the question when he discloses to them. It's not you that they're rejecting, Samuel. They're rejecting me. At the heart of the issue, what they presented as Abijah's and Joel's fraudulent behavior, God revealed to them, saying, it's not the fact that they're doing wrong, that they don't want you, that they want a king. They want a king because they reject me. I'm the reason why they want a king. But on the surface, they're using your sons as the excuse. And how often, Kevin, have I used surface reasons for me not to choose Jesus? How often has it been that the bills were due and the pressures that I'm under? How often has it been the person that hurt me and deceived me, the why I couldn't forgive them and why I couldn't love them? How often have I used surface reasons to choose the alternative when God says, that's not what I chose for you? They were, on the surface, it appeared like they had a valid reason of why they wanted another king. But once again, God revealed the heart of the issue. It was me that they wanted to get rid of. So oftentimes that we find ourselves, and I find myself in situations, once again, where God has to reveal to me, Kevin, that's not the reason why. Kevin, you say you're insecure, but let's peel back the onions. Let's peel back the layers. Yes, it's the insecurity. It's the fact that you don't think highly about yourself. It's the fact that you don't have the education. These are all layers to the onion, Kevin, that we need to just peel off. When we get to the root and the heart of the issue, in the very core of the issue, you don't trust me. And what you use as a surface, I'm trying to get to the heart. You don't trust me. And if that's my core, that's my heart. But he says, what is the things in your lives that you have layers on, that you're using as a justification and a means why God isn't your first choice, why he isn't the first option? Is it the fact that you've been through situations? Is it the fact that you're trying to raise a family on your own? Is it the fact that you've been through divorce and you've been through difficulties? Is it that you're trying to make ends meet? Is it that you tried Jesus before and he's disappointed and you felt disappointed? What are the reasons behind why he's not the first choice? He said, let's peel the layers back. Because the heart of the issue is what I want to get to. So if we're going to choose Jesus, there's some warnings that I want to give you. It's like this is probably a bad example, just thought of a bad example. If anybody smokes on the carton, there's a general surgeon notice. So if you smoke this, you're going to die. Cancer. Die at your own risk, right? Let me give you some warnings, notices that if you're going to choose Jesus, what's at stake. That the first thing is that if you're going to choose Jesus, you better recognize and understand that it is going to be an unpopular choice. That your choice for choosing Jesus will result in your unpopularity. Because he will call you to do things that doesn't make sense. He will call you to do things that other people won't agree with, and the opinions of people won't sway with you in those directions. He's going to call you to make some choices in life that's going to go against your family, that's going to go against your friends. It's going to go against your own ideologies and opinions. But he's going to say, choose me. It's going to be unpopular. That's what the elders approached Samuel with, and we see this in this context. That all the other nations had kings. All the other nations were serving other kings. Israel was the only people and the only nation that they didn't have a king. They had the King of Kings leading them. They didn't have just it wasn't a monarchy. It was a theocracy where God was king. And in this moment of God being king, they were a peculiar people. They were uncommon. And they looked at themselves and they looked at everything else and all the other nations around them. And they said, God, we want to be like them. But when God calls you to himself, and when you decide to make the decision to choose Jesus, he's going to say, I'm going to need you to remove yourself from the opinions and the crowd pleasing, and I'm going to need you to be by yourself. And sometimes being by yourself is going to be difficult. It's going to be lonely. It's not going to feel good. But yet choosing me is going to be so unpopular that people are going to talk about you. They're going to discredit you. They're going to think that you're lost your mind and that you're crazy. But yet that's the place that choosing me is going to land you. Are you willing to be isolated? Are you willing to be scorned and talked about and laughed at? Are you willing for everybody else to say that you done lost your mind and you've gone crazy for choosing Jesus? Are you willing to live in a culture where premarital sex and just having careless and casual sex is the norm, and that you're willing to abstain yourself for the sake of marriage? Are you willing to choose righteousness and choosing what is honest and trustworthy before God when everyone else is trying to find the other way? Are you willing to choose Jesus versus unpopularity? And he says this: don't compromise Jesus for the approval and the acceptance and the favorable opinions of others. Don't compromise choosing Jesus to get favorable approval and opinions from others. He said, that's not the decision you want to make. What is the alternative? He said, choose me. If you're going to choose Jesus, not only is it unpopular, second thing is choosing Jesus is going to be uncomfortable. That if you decide to choose Jesus, it is going to be uncomfortable. It's not this you on a beach living in Miami. It's not that you're taking cruises when you want to. You're not going to have money to take cruises sometimes if you choose Jesus. That there's going to be some moments in your life where discomfort is going to be the norm and what you're going to experience in that season. If I was to look at this text, it doesn't directly say this, right? It doesn't directly say this. I'm going to eisegete the text a little bit. To eisegete, Moss, I've been trying to study some things, Moss. If I'm going to eisegete the text, I'm going to put my own interpretation into the text, right? All right. The text says that because of what they had gone through, because of what they were going through, because of their current circumstances, that they asked Samuel to give us a king. Because God, I'm trying to relieve myself from this discomfort. We've been in this for how long, God, that they've been robbing and pilling from. We've been in it for how long, God, that they're not administering justice fairly, God, that this is a very uncomfortable situation that we don't want to be in. And as a result, God, I'm asking for deliverance. And the way that we see deliverance is give us a king. Knowing that what they were going through, this is the eisegesis that I want to insert, that God was saying to them in this moment, and saying to me, that choosing the king was your alternative for an escape. But what happened if you didn't choose the king? What happened if this request was never made? That you didn't ask for a king? You would still be in the same dilemma, dealing with these unholy and unrighteous men ruling over you in this area. That you would still deal with the briberies. You would still deal with the men who were seeking for who were hungry for money. That would still be the people and the leaders that would be leading over you in that day. So your comfort and your discomfort would still be present if you chose Jesus. Does that make sense? That give us a king so we can relieve ourselves from this displeasure, Jesus. But if I don't ask you for a king, God, then I'm still in the same dilemma. If I don't ask you for deliverance, God, I'm still dealing with Abijah and Joel. So God, give us a king. He says no. The reality is I knew what they were going through. I knew the experiences. I knew the things that they were doing behind closed doors. And if you were willing enough to endure that, I was still your king. That their discomfort and what Abijah was doing and what Joel was doing did not mean that God wasn't their king. He was still their king in the midst of their discomfort. He was still their king in the midst of their pressures. He was still their king in the midst of their pain and their hurt. He was still their king. But to escape all of that, I just need reprieve. I just need a break, Lord. I'm trying to get my mind right. I'm trying to get my head together, God. So I'm just trying to find any way possible. And so they would rather choose the alternative than deal with the discomfort of Jesus being their king and what they have to endure. And the reality is, y'all, they don't feel good. I know the things that y'all have been through, that we've been through, that we're going through collectively. People can only imagine the weight and the pressure that you're enduring. I know oftentimes how easy it is to smile through hurt and smile through uncertainty. I know when we go home from here, there's things that we still have to address that hasn't been resolved yet. I understand the mental anguish of trying to figure out your next move. But if choosing Jesus means staying in it, if choosing Jesus means to endure it, if choosing Jesus means that you have to endure and persevere for a little while, or choosing the alternative to try to find an escape. What they did was trying to find an alternative. What they did was trying to find a way out of the pressures that they were going through. And this has been my life for so oftentimes that I've always looked for alternatives and different means to try to appease the things that I'm going through, God. I know how difficult it is, Lord. I'm praying to you. I'm asking you. I don't see you coming through. So let me go ahead and try my plan B's and plan C's. And let me go ahead and try to concoct some things and put some things together. Let me try to make some things fit. And I'm always trying to find a way out. And God says, can you stay in it for a little while I'm still your king? The reality is that choosing Jesus is uncomfortable. And Paul had this idea. Paul had this revelation in 1 Corinthians chapter 4. He says, our dedication to Christ makes us look like fools. In verse 11, he says, now we go hungry and we're thirsty. We don't have enough clothes to keep warm. We're beaten and we have no home. We work wearily with our own hands to try to earn a living. We bless those who curse us and we're patient with those who abuse us. Yet we are treated like the world's garbage, like everybody's trash, right up to this present moment. I'm choosing Jesus, and this is what it costs me. It doesn't feel good. It's painful. That I have to bite the bullet oftentimes when I know I could defend myself. There's a few words that I could use. There's a few ideas that I could present to you. There's a few ways that I could make to try to make things happen. But yet choosing Jesus means I have to bite the bullet. That I have to be uncomfortable. To choose Jesus means I have to go through and endure the pressure and the pain of being knocked down. But the good news is that he's in the pressure with us. The good news is that every time we get knocked down, he's right there to pick us back up again. Every time we walk through the fire, he says, I'm with you in the midst of the fire. Every time he says, you're going through some things, I'm right there with you. That it's easy to choose an alternative. But he says, will you choose me? That choosing Jesus is uncomfortable. That while these are the warnings and the notices of what happens if we decide to choose Jesus, that it is unpopular and yet it is uncomfortable, the good news is that choosing Jesus comes with unexplainable blessings. That if you decide to choose Jesus, there's some things you won't be able to understand, that 1 + 1 won't equal 2, that things are going to happen in your life, that God, how did this happen? How did you make a way out of no way? How did you open this door? How did I land up in this position? I can't explain it, but when you choose Jesus, there's some things that are just unexplainable. Ask the children of Israel who were in the wilderness for 40 years. How was it that your clothes didn't grow old? How was it that your shoes didn't grow weary? How was it that you grew no blisters? And how was it that you were able to have no feebleness and no sickness were among you? Ask the children of Israel for 40 years. How was it, God, that you sustained us? How did you feed us manna? How did you make a water come out of the rock? How did you do these unexplainable blessings? Ask the widow in Zarephath, who was during a famine, only had a handful of flour in a jar and a little bit of oil. And yet Elijah the prophet came to her and said, make me some food to eat first while you're in the midst of the famine. Make me some food to eat first, and that your oil in your jar won't run over. And so in the midst of that, all she did was listen and obey the words and the instructions of the prophet. And they said, and from that day on, after making that food, making the prophet, Elijah, the cake, from that day forward, her oil did not run out. Her flour did not run out until the famine ended. Unexplainable blessings. God, how did you make the oil? How did you make the cake run flour last? Because it was unexplainable, because you chose me. What does it look like, Jehoshaphat, when you choose Jesus enough? When you are faced with armies that's approaching you and you don't know how you're going to win the battle. It's more armies against you than people are for you. And yet in the midst, you decide to seek God and pray. Lord, what direction shall we take? And he says, stand still and watch me fight your battles. And all you got to do is go out to the place that I'm sending you and see how I will defend you. And all they do is go out and see that the spoil before them, that what war they had before them, what enemies that they had before them, when they got to the destination and they got to the place, they were defeated. How did you do it, Lord? That I didn't have to pick up a weapon. I didn't have to pick up a sword. I didn't have to say a word, Father. You fought the battle for me. And not only did you fight the battle, I had 3 days of spoils to pick up. How did you do it? It's unexplainable blessings. How can I explain a woman with the issue of blood for 12 years after she gone to physicians and doctors, after she spent all that she could to try to get better, but nothing saved her, nothing helped her. But yet when she heard about Jesus in a moment, she chose to pursue after Jesus. And when she touched Jesus, Jesus said, you were healed. How could you dry up the issue of blood, God, that lasted for 12 years? Unexplainable blessings. Now, how is it, Kevin, that you can endure the things that you've endured, went through the things that you went through? How is it that you are faced with stacks and oppositions, and yet you're making it out the other side? How is it we're standing here right now in homes that we don't know how we could afford, in position that we don't even know how we obtained, with provision that we don't know how we made it? How can we make it this far? Unexplainable blessings. That there are some things that when we decide to choose Jesus and not the alternative, you don't know how you're going to explain it. It's just him. That the blessing of the Lord, he says, make rich and add no sorrow. So if we decide to choose Jesus, not just for salvation, but in the areas of our lives that yet we are still trying to hold on to, the areas of our lives that we're still trying to take control over, the areas of our lives, God, that I don't trust you enough in this area. If we decide to choose Jesus in those ways, not only would it be unpopular, not only would it be uncomfortable, but there's going to be unexplainable blessings on the other side. So the question is, all right, Lord, that kind of sounds good, but why choose you? If it's not just for the blessings, why choose you? He says, I want you to choose me because I first chose you. That the reality is the reason why you are here in the position that you're in is because I chose you. Every day that you wake up, I chose you. And I'm still choosing you. When you were doing stuff that you wanted to do, when you didn't know me, when you didn't want me, when you didn't choose me, I chose you. When you were in places you should not have been in, when you were in beds you weren't supposed to be in, when you were in clinics that you know you should not have gone in because of decisions you made, when you were doing things you didn't want to do, when you were hanging with people you weren't supposed to hang with, when they experienced judgment but you weren't, when you made it through, when they're not here no more but you're here, when you have the position that they should have get. How did I make it this far? Because I chose you. Before you ever chose me, I chose you. So if I'm going to choose you, Jesus, it's because you chose me first. While we were sinners, he chose us. While we were unloving other people, he chose us. He chose us. Deuteronomy says that the Lord set his heart and he chose you, not because you were many in number, not because you had it all together, but you were the smallest nation. I chose you rather because I loved you. That's why I chose you. You didn't earn my love. You didn't do nothing good enough for me to choose you. I chose you because I set my affection on you. I had alternatives too, Jesus says, but you were my choice. Rather, I chose you because I love you and to keep the oath that I swore to my fathers. I chose you because there's some promises that I want to give to you. That there's some things that's in your bloodline. There's some things that I have in my mind, in my thoughts, in my plans concerning you that I want to bring to your life. So why did I choose you? Because I want some promises I want to bring into your life. I want to establish some things in you. I want to establish some things in your family and in your generations. I chose you because I set my love on you, because I swore some promises to your ancestors. The song is that in our reality, the song that comes to mind is that it's the overwhelming, reckless, never-ending love of God. It chases me. It fights for me. It leaves the 99 to pursue after me. Why do I choose Jesus? Because he chose me. For nothing else at all, because you chose me. And I know the secrets I have. And you chose me. I know the things I'm still struggling and dealing with, but you chose me. And when he asked the question to me, Kevin, how much longer before you choose me? He gave me this answer. I would choose you until you choose me. That I would keep choosing you, Kevin, until choosing me is what results in the fact that, God, you love me so much that I can't help but to choose you. That, Kevin, how much longer? How much more do I have to give? How much more do I have to provide for you? How much more do I have to bless you? I will keep doing it over and over and over again until you choose me. Until you choose me. So this is why I'm closing. For some of y'all who don't know, I've been in a journey since the beginning of the year where I've been unemployed. And in the beginning of the year, I said, God, I want to do something different this year. That I want to actually do something that's purposeful, that's going to bring you glory, God. I've chased the money. I've chased money. I've made money. And while accumulating all of these things, God, I still wasn't satisfied. I said, God, I want to pursue you this year. I didn't know that it was going to come by means of me being laid off. There we have it. God, you work in mysterious ways. I get laid off. And in the process of being laid off, I'm searching for jobs. God, I'm like, God, I trust you. And I believe, God, that in this moment, in the moment of me pursuing you, God, that you allow me to lose my job so I can focus my attention on what it is that you have planned for me. And so in trusting God, I said, God, I trust you. So for job after job, I applied hundreds of jobs, put in applications. And my prayer to God was, God, I'm so afraid of not choosing you. Don't give me the choice. I don't want an alternative, God, because I don't know if the alternative might just sound good. It might just come with some perks that I'm like, all right, God, you know what, Lord, I might have to bounce on this one. You have to put your purpose on the side for one more year. Let me go ahead and get this. I don't want the alternative. So whatever it's going to cost me, I want to choose you. So God, don't give me no options. Close every door. And for months, I'm applying for jobs. Jobs I know I'm qualified for. Jobs I know I got the reputation and the degree for. I'm talking to people I got connections. And door after door, he's closed. Closed doors, no interviews. God, not even an interview? I mean, I know I said close the door, but at least give me, no, not even an interview. Door after door, he closed for me. And it was in the moments I said, God, I don't know. Money's getting tight, y'all. And I thank God for my wife because through all of this, she was gracious. She paid more bills in our 10 years of marriage than she ever had to pay bills. And she ain't flinch. She ain't flinch. I said, babe, you got this one coming up. She paid. She a G. And in the 10 years, man, in the pressure that we had to, I had to endure. The anguish of God that this is my family. This is the provision, God, that these are things I need to take care of. These kids, we got tuition we need to pay for. How are we going to pay for it? Running up some credit card debt. And all of these things, God said, God, but I choose you. That whatever it is, don't open the door for me. That's not you, God. I set my face on what you have planned for me. And month after month after month, 200 applications, nothing. And then finally I get a call for a position I don't apply for. For something that I didn't seek after. Called me and says, listen, we want to offer you this position. Now, that's the good news. That's the good news. I said, God, thank you. I'm employed again. I'm employed again. Thank you, Lord. But what he showed me in the moment was, while I bless you with the job, that is his purpose and his plan. I'm thinking I'm good now, Lord, that it's going to come with some perks. It's going to be better than it was. It has to be better than it was before, Lord. A 50% pay cut. I'm making what I make now. I haven't made that since 2016. Lived up with debts that was associated with our current way of salaries and our current way of living. But God, this is where you want me. And there's going to be some uncomfortable days ahead. But God, this is where you want me. Making half of what I made before. But this is where you want me. And choosing Jesus, he showed me. He said, Kevin, what you struggle with, this is why you're my therapist. He said, what I struggled with for years has never been about accumulating wealth. It's always been my desire for wealth over him. God, present me this opportunity for your purpose and your plans while I was making six figures. And ask me if I would have left. The desire was, while I wanted to do your will, I love money more. I'm going to be honest. That I love accumulation more. It was the desire and the need to take care of the family. It was the desire and the need to take care of to be the provider in the house. All of these things, God said, I was choosing before him. Yes. So let me take you through the process, Kevin. Let me strip you down of everything and then bring you to the point that you can see within your own life and your own heart that for years, it's never been about me. It's always been about what you can obtain. And I had to show you, Kevin. Are you willing to choose me when the money's not there? And gladly, I said, God, you deserve it. You deserve my choice because I've seen what you brought me through. You deserve my choice because I know how you provided for me before. You deserve my choice because I know how you've been faithful to me through the years. You didn't allow a meal to go unfed. You did not allow none of my bills to go unpaid. I've seen you do it, Lord. So you're faithful to me. So while it ain't what I used to make, it's his purpose. And I would choose his purpose rather than money any day now. Now. So what are the things in our hearts that God, I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was the case. You couldn't tell me years ago, Lord, that I love you more than money. I love money more than you. You could have told me that. No, absolutely not. But when it came down to it, that was always my choice. That was always my choice. So as we examine choosing Jesus, it's not about the comfort, it's not about the convenience. Are you willing to choose Jesus and lay down the idols and the things that we depend on and the things that we come to associate ourselves with value and need? Are we willing to lay it down that we can choose Jesus? So, Father, as my therapists have listened, I choose you. Father, I thank you because you have been so good to us. That there's unexplainable blessings, God, that we're living in right now that we don't know how it happened. That you have been merciful and faithful. Even in our disobedience, God, you have still chosen us. Day after day, God, you're choosing us. In moments that we don't deserve it, you're choosing us. And so, God, in this moment, not just my heart, Father, but I pray for the heart of your sons and your daughters, God, that whatever it is in their hearts, whatever decision, whatever moment, whatever circumstance, God, that they are competing and they are looking and considering alternatives. I pray, God, that they choose you. Father, where we have resurrected idols, God, in the name of Jesus, God, we destroy them and we lay them down, Father. That you are deserving of our trust, that you're deserving of our commitment. You're deserving of our love, Father. So we say tonight, this afternoon, God, that we choose you. We choose you, Jesus. And we thank you for bringing us through uncomfortable and discomfort moments. We thank you for bringing us through pressures and pains. We thank you for bringing us through moments of isolation where we're by ourselves. And thank you for bringing us into places that we can't even explain, God. You're going to do it because we choose you. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.